Welcome to the bold analysis. Raila Odinga has actually pushed for mass action to be on Wednesday. I remember before that, Edwin Sifuna shared some posts saying that they were planning for a 3 days consecutive mass action between Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But then Raila Odinga came and gave a rejoinder saying that they're rescheduling it to Wednesday, first to pay respect to those who have lost their lives. But there is that which you are not told. From Monday, we have some 15 heads of state that should be in this country. Probably they will be arriving here on Sunday. They should be in this country. I hope they will be here for some 2 or 3 days, so that maybe that Wednesday they will be here, or they shall have left. And we have other engagements of that actually are supposed also to happen in this country by that time. And what is now emerging, and if you check the nation, you're actually going to find this story, is that a contingent, a delegation from William Ruto's side and the church and close Ruto's family are now, while they are in public, castigating Azimio la Umoja and demonizing, of course, doing political propaganda with it. They are reaching out to Raila Odinga with one intention, that resumption of bipartisan talks. I am one person that opposed these bipartisan talks from the word go. I've never supported, and I don't think I can support, or I'm even ready to support anything like that. So they are reaching out to Raila to accept some bipartisan talks, because which is the way out of the street? The way out of the street is talking. And I've never supported it. One thing that Raila Odinga, and I think there's a new think tank, maybe I'm glad I still get to some 2 or few people within that think tank, should actually see on that move to reach out to Raila on that resumption of bipartisan talks, is that it is very clear that even the state is feeling the pressure. But I dare say that Raila falls into that trap of cancelling and resuming that bipartisan talks. Then after getting to the table, then start bringing conditions. I'm telling you. No one knew that people would get back to protest. Even me, I had known that, okay, fine, this is ending, this is the end of it. No one knew. And 30th April, when he cancelled that mass action, people said, okay, Raila has gone to bed with William Ruto. We will actually see them now attending some functions together, and the country was like, okay, things are now come. But things changed. If Raila Odinga will fall into that trap again, actually that will be the end of it all. I know that as a statesman, he's always finding himself in it. But I want to give a very clear point about this. If they're looking, the way they are pushing and looking for him, it is very clear that they're feeling the magnitude. Finance bill is suspended, and these protests have affected transport of goods. So to some extent, the economy is at some shutdown. And that is what they're crying out to Raila Odinga, that the economy is shutting down. And you know, the reason why I'm just saying this, that is very key, is that, and why Ruto is even making this move, is this. If things are to move as they are, it will get to a point that not even Raila Odinga will be able to cool it. But he might not be interested in cooling it. What am I saying? I just want to use this example. I asked someone who attended a protest that why the law says it should end at 6, and it normally ends at 6. And I asked, do you guys want to take us to 2 or 7? Because why are you protesting even at night? And that guy faced me and told me the truth that maandamano huisha mapema. But it's these fellows that normally protest at night, that is never protest, that is normally looting. Those people are just engaged in looting. So this brings me to my point why William Ruto wants to push this bipartisan talks now. If things go this way, economy suffers shutdown, the young people that can go to work, people fails to go to work. This starts with people in the informal sector, the boda guys, the Uber guys, and the people even in this informal sector. The moment jobs are affected, there is some sort of frustration. And you know what will happen here is the country can get deprived of even resources, because if I can't work, then what does it mean? Because you've stopped me from working, if a protester is stopping me from working, then I'll have to deal with that protester. So we shall create some animosity if the situation gets out of hand, because the economy is also feeling the shutdown. So that is the reason why maybe they're dispatching a team to meet Raila Odinga. But I want to agree, well, the only way out is talks temporarily, but the other way out is creating a political mobilization euphoria, but with a long-term ambition of giving William Ruto a contest of century in 2027. They're just two things. If you sit down, but again, with this euphoria, if you sit down with William Ruto, now there's some conditions that must be met, and I'm not going to get them from the moon. Just learning from bipartisan talks. Raila Odinga should not entertain any sort of a talk that is actually coordinated by people or members of parliament in this country. The parliamentary process should not be out. The only thing that should be close to a talk should be that one of like the Kofi Annan. We should get a neutral arbiter. We should get a neutral arbiter. And I think what we have in this country is we've raised the threshold of a national crisis, until some 100 people die, we've raised the threshold. I wish we would actually lower the threshold and agree that it doesn't need to get to the worst, because when it gets to the worst, we are going to deal with a lot of problems, humanitarian demands. You're going to deal with security, we're going to deal with people who are in the hospitals. But when we are at this, and I don't really hope that it goes beyond what is happening, I am not vouching for something like a 207. But anything like talks should only be centered around, number one, must be mediated by a neutral figure who can be AU or UN somewhere. That's number one. Number two, Raila Odinga made a blunder last time in the last mass action, where that mass action was triggered or rather engineered around IEBC and opening the servers. Now, IEBC and opening the servers, there is quite a general consensus that William Ruto is the president. People seem to have accepted it. So when you bring that, you create the lines, you draw the lines. Now, drawing the lines is where the problem is, because people then start feeling, me, I support William Ruto because I'm UDA. Me, I support so-and-so because I'm Azimio la Umoja. So I think anything, Raila Odinga must make sure, the think tank must make sure that there should not be any talks between Raila and Ruto. And those talks are about those other cosmetics, server. No, they should first put the cost of living at the top. In fact, the condition number 3 is Irreducible minimums, when people go to strike, when teachers are striking, you normally tell them, before you go to work, I'll pay you all your dues. If you had withheld their salaries, you will pay all their salaries. Even when you say, I will release all the prisoners, war prisoners that have been arrested. Before I go to talk, I will do this and that. I think Raila Odinga, before he even thinks about these people coming, Ruto must do something that he can come out and say, look guys, as we are talking, but the protest yielded this fruit. Because the narrative that Ruto is running with, and it's sinking successfully, is the fact that protest cannot solve your problems. And they've been asking Kenyans, will protest bring you food? And good Kenyans will say no. Will protest bring down the cost of living or the cost of fuel? And the good Kenyans will shout saying no. So in future, they must get it right. And one of the things they must get right is the things that must be done before. If it is about releasing, if it is about the cost of living, that cost of living question must come out clearly. Thirdly, anything that moving forward, I think Raila Odinga must make sure that any deliberation that is to be taken is not a parliamentary. Do not start and end in parliament. It must start and end outside parliament. Because 95% of those who opposed finance bill were not just members of parliament and politicians. They were civil society organizations, public companies, and individuals in this country. So it must be owned by the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Raila knows very well that Ruto lost the place of the hustler, and the hustlers have not been on table. I think I will suggest that instead of beating Raila, let Ruto go and beat the hustlers. That's my bold. And let's meet in the next. As we plan to take the body of Sarah home for burial on Sunday, I want to say thank you for those who really supported us here. And of course, for standing with the family during this difficult moment. Thank you.